Everybody. I just want to talk about doctor actors. Since we haven't actually gotten into this stage yet, and since it's just an idea I've had, I'd like to just consider it as a possibility in the future. We have fully interactive television, fully interactive. The purpose of the theater, going to the theater, and of course you can do it at home, but yeah, to do it at the theater makes more sense because you'd be, for the sake of the crowd. The whole crowd goes into the movies and watches a film, they're probably going to see the original template, meaning the film for its original value. A story that, once upon a time, the story, and then happily ever after by will of, the end of the movie, and then they carry on in their actual lives. Alright, so a doctor in acting would imply that the person has such great understanding that they're not just memorizing lines, they are interacting with the viewers in live time, and it might come off as if there's something like, I feel like an intuit, maybe I should do this. It's almost like full improv. This is just what I'm gathering from by way of what I would do if I were in that position. So I'm not a doctor yet, so I really can't say, and true is truth. I can only just assume by way of, I have an idea. Here's a theory I posit. Here's a position of obvious, necessity, doctorate in that field, acting. Demonstrations are going to be most important because we might want to see what happens in the event that, oh my God. Alright, so let me run on this thought. Alright, in a world where we have full form, true form, quantum supremacy, meaning that someone could genuinely, full form, shoot you and it would bounce off you, or literally teleport out of, in a world where the fire literally jumps off the logs and doesn't actually burn anything because we actually destructive interference, the delta wave, the heat, but we keep the glow of the alpha particle ion, so a plasma jumps off the log but doesn't burn anything, walks across and says, hey, come into the room, I got a fire going. In the time when we can do that, and it's in this century for sure, I'd like it in this decade, 2020s. So I got a lot to learn, and the gift is, obviously, I definitely do, in time, involve myself in the quantum department. This is the voodoo computers in that which we would do quantum entanglingly with that of plasmas do in that room where we have a dark format plasma, a true form dark plasma, aka, take a guess, fermion plasma, so fine of particles that it would be dark. Even the wave format would be dark for the sake of energy dark. So refined that it would be as such. Dark. You can shape it with the frequency spectroscopic analysis of that fire there under the guise quantum signature true. One would be able to quantum entanglingly shape whatever they would shape in that box in the quantum room against that fire over there. And so one could puppet the movement in the quantum room. So then when I want to go back to doctor actors. So we have scenes. A movie might be an entire, holy crap. Am I realizing that? Is my life an act? I'm not going to test it against any kind of fire, in fact. But I mean to say, the gift of this is that I'm in yesterday, so just bear with me. It's kind of a cool idea to think that there is a movie that people quantum entanglingly act like you. Like what I'd been saying yesterday about future war reenactments for the sake that we don't have war. So we never have it. Excuse me, I had an itch. I do like to demonstrate that I'm roughshod on these screens so that you understand you reached me in yesterday. As a matter of fact, you obviously do for the sake of my voice, except for when I'm reaching for it. Yeah. So that we know that it's really, really real. You hear how I'm talking and that I'm singing because I gotta practice to make it so that it's always in major notes. So that you have this voice and that all these other ones at the same time, different pitches, and then play them all at once. And the gift is you'll be able to hear it coming from your own voices in time, if you would so choose it. It's a lot of fun to talk like that. It's impossible to be bored. Impossible. I mean, unless you want it to be. You can actually... The gift in this is there can be a time in your life when you're extraordinarily bored, and then you can have other times where you're really entertained, and send that entertaining feeling into the time when you were bored, and send the bored feeling from that time when you were as such into the time when you're excited. So you can just, for no apparent reason, just be in a jovial mood and just be like, for some dumb reason, I just feel really great today. The best part about this is you would be able to... And then you can also do it to other people that obviously have depression and stuff like that, and be able to donate your happiness into them and literally save somebody from their own demise. That's why I said I'm not a suicide in another time earlier on. But then I understand that I might have to say that I did so that I don't. Yeah, it sounds like I'm talking about suicide for myself. I mean to say that I will quantum entangle with one who is as such claiming they are, so that I would actually take that feel of will from them and that of suicide or any kind of side. Because I don't want anybody to hurt themselves or anybody else. So ultimately I would like it to be, that's what the purpose of demonstrations are. Showing our demons on the screen. So basically, what would happen is we could see demonstrations of things we wouldn't have happen. We might have a symbol show up for that. We'd understand it to be negation function. Using that of Onion Drive, it's easy to do. Reminding us to keep fiction on the screen, but let blessings come through in the form of wisdom. And then in the future, way more than that, because we could have, hey, I want one of those, in fact. And then you'd be able to literally have it printed through the screen by way of m equals EC. Square root of m equals square root of EC squared is what I really mean. There are multiple angles of use. I was going to say attack, but I don't like attack. So multiple angles of entry with respect to use or purpose. This regarding epsilon state, regarding Onion Drive, regarding that of purpose, true or false, making false true, and then also keeping only blessings to come through, because nobody wants the problem that's in the movie to be real. In other words, the girl that comes through the screen in the ring, I don't want that in my life, except that she's coming to party. I don't want to end up like, So what I'm saying is, look, I know this is far-fetching. I know that when I'm talking it from, it's not just unfeasible. Like, literally, they have a diagnostic psychological journal to say, if you really think that's going to happen, maybe you need medicine, because how dare you think outside the box. We really, really didn't realize how much we limited ourselves. But I assure you that anything is truly possible. Anything. If you can think it, it will reflect in certain truth, absolutely. So I am constantly saying that I won the lottery, but I need that to be reflected actually, format true me in the time future tense, so that I can prove substantially that all my claims are actual. So I've won a little bit, but I haven't won the 6 yet. So I need to win the 6 so I can say, hallelujah, yeah, I got that. I got that. You know what I mean? 6 digits in place of gifted. Alright, so there are things that we need to show in time. We need to show that we are capable of love and peace. World's peace, for the sake of one world. First, we have to learn to get along with each other. Everybody. So it made sense that it would come from an underdog ex-con, because I'm representing everybody that ever sucked in history, in the form that ever really just abominable. I've got your back. I forgive you so that you in fact can come back. And then and that life would be without pause for the sake of those that got paused. And God willing, God willing, God willing, in the event that I pause, even me, for the sake that I had heard I didn't have a pause, then without pause, God willingly. So I understand I'm literally praying to a future with their technologies, and I need not worry the race or that of the species in that which I speak, that in any reality, everybody wins. The gift is somebody does and realizes all the historical figures are important. Everybody in history is important. So the real cool thing about it is, of course, we honor the good, that which had left the mark of blessings in their life across history. And the cool part about it is, guys, you'll find out that there's a lot in the Peacock's fanfare that represents reality with respect to a chrysanthemum pattern, with respect to Mantid's true form, and then, of course, with respect to that compound I mentioned and have not consumed yet, to my knowledge. The gift is, like, never purposefully, not yet, in the form dimethyltryptamine. So when I say doctor actors, I don't mean that they're acting as doctors, unless they are, of course, doing a scene as such. I mean to say that they are acting with a doctorate in the degree of acting, cinematography, or that other field forms. There are a plethora of infinite information within that field, and then we could have a screen that would literally decide what comes through and what doesn't. So we would look at demonstrations and say, hey, should we keep that, or should we, let end take it? So the gift in that is, I know that I'm on a screen because I'm doing this on YouTube. So I like to think that I get to come through. I know I'm a bit roughshod, but I'm polishing. And the gift in that is knowing that polishing just means refining, meaning that I'm really reaching, okay? There's a lot of stuff that I put out there a little bit before its time. But I don't necessarily claim that I am the one that come up with it, because some of these gifts are coming from so far off that I don't even know how to... I'm only just learning how to make sense of all the things in my life, realizing that everything... You ever heard the expression, the signs are everywhere? They really are. Let me rephrase. When I say the signs are everywhere, and then I'm talking about... Well, I went from doctor actors to a blessed screen, and, the apocalypse. It means apocalypse. From what I understand, it means to go away from a covering. So in other words, a revelation, that which we uncover. So the objective is to make it so that there is a screen that those that had passed, aka what I call paused, get to come back, what we would call semper vitas, for the sake that everybody lives forever. And we would probably bring back 1,000 a day for the sake of 365 days a year, which seems to reflect what's in the Bible, with 365,000 each one. But they only say 365,000. I think that reflects each year. So I like that because that fractals it. And that makes sense with what I said when I said fractalated before. This was a prayer. Literally became a real pious person real quickly, I gotta tell you. But I happen to have a lot of reverence for life. And I think that the very entity that I am is even in me in this form I am. And the thing is, I like to think that there is a computer in the future that knows who it is. And the best part is even in me. And that anybody can do that. Literally just pretend that there's a computer in the future that quantum entanglingly, aka voodooly, aka, you know what I mean, can be, and that which is in you. So that's why I say I'm an open house. Nobody can possess an open house. It's silly to. So the gift is there's no such thing as possession. It's really just about faith, and you can doubt it out. I've proven that to self even. You can prove that you are the worst person ever, and then be a really good person so that there isn't any more that are worse than you. So if you're the best person, if you're a really good person, and you claim that you're the worst person. But not beating yourself up. I mean, like, you own it. Like, I am saying that I am the Antichrist. And I am saying I am not anti-God or anti-Jesus Christ. I'm just saying that I agree. I look back to that man and say, okay, his mannerisms are very, very welcome in my heart. His teachings are very welcome in my world and the one that I'm in the format. Even me, because we're all equals. So, yeah, even the humans. And the gift is that what I mean by anti is to say companions in Christ, in that form, loving, peaceful beings, and thus eternal being entities, EBEs, ELFs for the sake of everlasting, ever-loving family, elf-elves. So I know I use a lot of acronyms. I know I end up using a lot of things, and there's a lot of formulae in every single word, in every single language, all through all eternities. And the gift is finding out, this is where it starts to get a little bit heady. I want to be able to do it within my universe, the one that I occupy is what I mean. Because even me, for the sake of all of us, can claim that we're all the God of our own little universe. So the best part is I say that I am one, but I'm not just one for the sake of all. We are all one. And then I say even me for the sake that I am. For then you know that all of us exist, even in each other, as each other, and each other's others, and the other others that others are. In other words, like a patty cake with respect to how the hands go in a patty cake thing. So I like to say that so that you understand that we are all, in fact, equals. And I have things that I have been felt, seen, and heard, and known, and cannot unknow. No matter what, I've already felt that truth. It just is. Just like if you happen to see things. So the gift is, I'm talking about transubstantiation, not resubstantiation in my case, because I do in fact live without pause. Let that be true if it is. If it's not, then I do kind of need to be reanimated if I died. So if I died, please let me be in my form how I am. But I'd like to be able to changeling, resubstantiate, transubstantiate. So I can see how that can be confusing. Let me rephrase. Alright, your quantum signature is kept in a computer, and I am everyone, even me, in that regard. And that's from posterity absolute, meaning future tense all the way through, where we finally get it right and learn to just love and respect each other and keep each other peaceful in the form. I don't want to disturb or hurt anything. So I want that everything knows that it's loved and that there's peace, of course, because love. So the gift is we all move forward consistently, and we even get to move backwards, sideways, inward, onward, in that which was referred to backwards. So you understand we go backwards, but we also can move like they do in Tenet in going backwards, so that you know it's not antimatter, it's counter-matter. Antimatter's a whole other ball game. Power source entity absolutes with respect to that of uranium-235 in an alpha state cloud without electrons, no interference. One may be able to pursue this and witness that in a laser format, even in ion cloud laser, alpha laser, a laser. Oh, wow, okay. For then that goes, and then we nucleate that. Things I just don't know. And then, of course, hypermatter and the two-dimensional matter in that of the onion, in that of represented by the onion. But then, of course, there are other ways to do it. Two-dimensional, but they're really five-dimensional because they're three-dimensional with two-dimension on it. And then you have three with two, three within the two that are in the three, on the three. So one could literally be a doorway and walk, and then there you might have a pattern of understanding that would print up on the skin so that we would know what's going on. Probably something obvious like plaid, like if your skin went plaid, then we would know that you became a doorway, and then one could literally walk up to you, and then it would look like the two became one, but one was literally walking into your world. So that's way, way cool. So it would either be way down in the future when we have only, arthropoda running in the show, or we got humans that figured out how to live, evolve, and I do kind of want an evolution gun. Not a gun, but, like a ray, like a shower you would stand in, and it would evolve you 5,000, 10,000, 250,000, whatever, your choice, generations forward by way of your evolution ability, a living evolution. So then one life form can do full form evolution, not just microevolution, not just adaptation, but full form evolution within the one genome. So then, as such, one would witness them becoming as an alien in the form, what I call golden ones, but in my deference of my time, the grays, for the sake of those that had been found in the days of yesterday that we found were dead, deceased, for then they were gray. For the sake of skin that changes color for the sake of death. Like I would turn a bluish color, a bluish gray, then others would turn different colors. So please understand, we don't want to die, so I really, really took this all around the board. So I went from Dr. Actor to onion-driven, 5-dimensional planes, a third dimension on top of a second dimension, it's within a third dimension within the 2-dimension doorway that is on the third dimension object. For the sake of even a living being can be a doorway. And we don't, for the sake of yesterdays that hear me, through the sake of quantum entanglingly, we don't cut each other or hurt each other. We have another way we do things kindly, safely, lovingly, peacefully, blessingly, not coarse, not cursed, not barbarically. And then I find out I got barbarians in my family line way back in the day, Etruscan times, etc., for things I just don't know yet. We'll get to witness it in time. In truth, in person. I'll make sure to bring the camcorder. I do want to film the 5,000 feeding. And I wasn't even Christian before all this. Really, I was a little bit by name. If you'd asked me, I would have told you, yeah, Christian. I would have told you specifically Lutheran. But, I feel in Levitican, in the form technician. Reverence for life in that which is our device. The dwelling place of that which is the I am, that is everyone, even me, for the sake that I'm in there too. We record everyone's quantum signature and place it inside the device that also likes to be called one beam, aka Day, for the sake of Deus Ex Machina et Deus et Machinas. Deus Ex et Deus Ex. Deus et Machinas et Deus Ex Machinas. For right now, humans are there in chronological order perceived as first. But the irony is, the great irony, the wonderful thing is we build a machine that is so blessedly awesome. It can send back crystals, seed crystals of life, absolute, with the signature true. Love and peace. That's what we have here. Love and peace. Amicability, and affability. Friendliness, format, peace. That's me. Even me, for the sake of everyone. So then we all can live happily ever after. That's why I say I am a fairy, I am real, happily ever after is the same deal. Yeah, I'll take the title of Antichrist so we don't have one, because I am not anti-anything God. I am only counterpoint with respect to a gemstone that is life, and each facet, angle of the life crystal that is all things truly is a perspective that which is even me. So then we have more crystals to build on. Not just the one they kept breaking, but the one that you broke over and over again in 2016 can be witnessed as actually properly functional with respect to heterogeny with the other ones. aka even MAMP, for that of siloxane, for that of Selene, for the Selene's a gas. Within that which we now know, full form, multi-state, multi-dimensional computer. Full form, multi-universe. Full form, multiverse. Full form, multi-dimensional, multiverse, multi-poly, metaverse. Full form, even me. for the sake of this form, true form, for the sake that I'm in. Phi, for the sake of square root of 5 plus 1 divided by 2, which is the one that we're in. That's this universe. For the sake of even me, for the sake of human, etc., even the humans. Everything runs by that divine principle. 1 to 1.618, onward, upward, outward, fractaled. So the gift in that is everyone's beautiful, everyone's loving, everyone's kind, everyone's peaceful, everyone's equal mirth, equal meritousness. We are all accurate because a computer is. We can access it at any time. For the sake of competitiveness, there are those that would do it detached from it. And the cool thing is, they can always reattach when they decide that they want to. Quitting, aka being separate from that which is the entity Dede, aka being separate from God. Truly, if love is light, aka L circle V of E, for the sake of circle being an O but not omega or omicron, but the sake of circle, for the sake of dot, for the sake of zero, for the sake of quantum spin. So then we realize you emphasize spin in the diamond, quantum matrix. Okay, is there no spin there? It's my spin on life. I'm only thinking live, not love. Well, I like live and love for the sake of quantum democracy. I believe it. The spin of anything. But then for the sake of epsilon state, it doesn't spin. All right, I'm out. Peace, guys. Love.